Good afternoon. Welcome to the Sports Pavilion Committee meeting. I'm going to call it to order. I'm Lisa Vines, your committee chair. Welcome. We're going to go ahead and get started with, we're establishing, Tracy, did you want to say something?
No.
Oh, okay, sorry. First off, I want to address an item that Karen just brought to my attention is beginning, this is mainly for the committee, just so everybody's aware, beginning in November, we're not only going to just be, our voice recorded, will be live streaming on video as well, just so the committee is aware for everybody. So, okay, any questions? No? Okay. And so we'll cross 1.02 off. And we'll establish a quorum. That's good. Everybody is here. All committee members are present. And with that, we'll move into 2.01 with Tracy, our secretary. She'll join us. It's,
There they are.
you see them? I'm sorry, just look at the agenda.
Okay, has everybody had a chance to look through the minutes from the last meeting on September 15th? Any corrections or comments? No? Okay. Minutes are approved.
Thank you. So with that, Barry, we're going to move into 3.01.
Okay. Well, comparing September 21 with September 20, bowling league revenue, we were up $11,507. Open bowling, we were up $1,350. Miscellaneous revenue, we were up $743. Total bowling revenue, we were up $13,600. And for food and beverage, we were up $16,757. And the big reason for that is the bar revenue of $15,164. So total bowling revenue, we were up $36,250. And the difference in the games bowled, we were up 7,258 lines. So that'll do it for the financials. Any questions? Okay.
Thanks, Barry. With that, Pete, you're up. Thank you.
Excuse me. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, board members or committee members. Last month, I handed you all out a real brief perspective of what the reserve study had for Sports Pavilion improvements. I thought I'd expand on that just a little bit because last month it was just a roster of every item, and perhaps this may or may not answer any questions you may have, but in the next 5 years, I thought I'd identify for the committee members, anybody in the audience, that, and this is subject to change, we evaluate all of our reserve study items for, the need to replace, and so this is simply a placeholder at this time. Doesn't mean that these are going to go in, but in the year that I mentioned. But 5 items are projected to be replaced within the next 5 years. The sound system, and by the way, Barry can expand on any of these because he knows the equipment a lot more than me. But the sound system was slated to go in 2024. Ball returns in the upcoming year. In 2026, we're looking at masking units, graphics. 2025, a custodian walker, oiling machine, if you will. And billiard tables in 2027, about 17 of them. It's allowance for those that are needing to be replaced. And then lastly, the big ticket one is in 2025 at this time would be possibility of the pin setter replacement. So I really push more to Barry on any questions that anybody may have about any items on our reserve study, but thought I'd expand on it, what I gave out last month.
Committee, any questions? Go ahead.
Pete, on the bottom to the roofs, those are two separate, could you explain?
I may have to defer that to Carl, but if you're talking, oh, I see. Yeah, what happens is that the allotment in the reserve study is a total for the entire replacement. But if we find that the roofs are in good repair, then they'll go more for just a patch instead of a full displacement. And so we make an allotment for each, and the amount for the patch is taken off of the full replacement. So.
Great, thank you. And then on the current cost, is there an escalator attributed to that each year?
Yes, we use 3% in our modeling.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Anybody in the audience have any questions? Thanks, Pete.
You bet. I think I'm up next on financials as well.
You are.
As Barry alluded to, good news, looking good. I don't know why that's June. So that was a year end. I may have to just read to you then why the attachment. But anyway, just for FYI, I'm only going to present July. We don't ever present to any of the committees until they've been advanced to BNF and the governing board accepted them. And so I'll read you the numbers real briefly. Many of them are in sync with Barry, but I'm obviously a month or two behind his report. But very good news on the bowling lineage. About 44 grand of revenue. That was against a budget of 19, so 25,000 excess there. Ancillary revenue, which oftentimes is the rentals and lockers and shoe rentals and things like that, about 4,500 versus a $1,700 budget. Nice variance there. And then just for everybody in the room, you'll note Barry alluded to the liquor sales that came through the Lizard Acres, but we reported in our food and beverage at net. So we put our cost of goods sold against the gross revenues. And so our number of 9901 across the whole spectrum of the pavilion, but most notably the Lizard Acres, made for a positive variance against a $1,981 budget of almost $8,000. So total revenues were $58,000 against 22, so a $36,000 positive variance. So very good start on the revenue side. Expenses actual were $72,000, and budget was $69,000 for a slight deficit. Most of that would be a small amount of labor that is factored over to the Lizard Acres expansion, which clearly still has a very positive margin. So with the $36,000 positive variance, and then just a slight excess on the expenses, positive variance of $33,000 through the first month of operation. You don't have it in front of you, but I expect August to look relatively identical to this. Almost all of the categories looked pretty good. So if anybody had a question about, what's happening after that, that's not specific, but it's very generally speaking going to be the story I'll tell. I do have one comment. This is a issue with our own accounting, and I'm saddened to say that I'm not sure exactly where the bowling lineage for the budget came from. But on our reports, we've been having a very odd number in there. But we have to kind of report it as it's presented. But you don't see it, but throughout the year, I might as well put that on the record. So, any questions for me? Sorry about the error on what you're seeing up there.
Great, thanks. Any questions, committee? No. Audience? Super. Thanks, Pete. Appreciate it. With that, we're going to move into committee goals. And one of the first things we're going to look at is, bear with me one second, we kind of have a few different lists going here. Katie, are you putting something up for us here, or? Okay. Sorry, I didn't know it was already behind me. And so, is it this one? All right. Okay. So first up, we're going to review with Barry any capital improvement items and projects that we might have. Ready, Barry?
I'm ready.
Okay. So I think first up on the list is the dartboards? Or you want to do that, or you want to? Oh, okay. You want to do that? You want to do it that way? Oh. You want to go this way? All right, we can do that. All right. All right, so then we'll go through the list, and then we'll come back to with the documents. And so review with the manager any maintenance. Okay. So, do you want to do this? Okay. So one of the first things that we have to do is, Barry, you have this?
Is it one up there? I can read off that.
Okay. No? Okay. Okay. So we have a red line to number 4 is to evaluate with the manager facility usage of the billiards room, where it says shuffle room, Lizard Acres Pub, and bowling areas of the Sports Pavilion. So we need to redline where it
Okay.
says shuffle room and insert Lizard Acres Pub.
All right, as far as the billiard room usage, we're at where we've been probably for the last 3 years. We'll do about 20,000 people that float through there during the course of the year. We're not as busy as we used to be. We're not seeing the utilization of all the tables all the time, but we're still fairly busy. So we're pretty consistent in that area. Lizard Acres Pub, it is growing as we speak. Each week it seems to be going up, and we're anticipating with all the snowbirds, once they're back, that will even be better. And we're going to try to grow it even more with some of the entertainment that we'll talk about later on. So that's looking very well, above our expectations, actually. The bowling area, right now, we're probably going to be as we were back in 2019, which is positive. So we're looking, probably we'll at least have 2,000 league bowlers, which amounts to about 30, I think 38 leagues or something like that. So we're extremely busy. At one time, we were the busiest 30-lane bowling center in the United States, and I'm hoping to get back to that. So we're looking for a good year with bowling. So, and we will do some tournaments and things of that nature to pick up the slack time where we do have lane availability. The biggest problem with bowling is we don't have lane availability due to all the leagues we have. So we're very limited what we can do with open play. But we try to do some things where we can. So that's pretty spotty. But we do advertise it once we are going to do something. We get flyers out and things of that nature. So that's where we stand on that.
Great, thanks, Barry. And then before we move on from there, Barry, I want to ask if it's okay. So in regards to the areas right now where it refers to the shuffle room or shuffleboard room, anything, are we okay to redline and change it to Lizard Acres?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So Lizard Acres Pub, I think. Sue, is the official name Lizard Acres Pub?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what we need to change it to. We'll redline it. In all areas where it refers to shuffle room, we'll redline it to Lizard Acres Pub and get that corrected. Thanks, Barry. Next up is 4.03. Well, still staying in 4.02 with the policies. I'm hoping the committee members all had an opportunity to review policy CO3. And did you have any recommendations as to whether or not you thought there should be any changes, corrections to this, or shall it stand as is? Don't everybody speak at once.
Okay, I just have a question about, like, in the summertime, the bowling alley was closed on Sundays unless there was like a tournament type of thing. And hearing from residents, some of them were upset because we were closed on Sundays unless there was a bowling tournament. Is there any thought, and I know we just ended summer, is there any thought for this coming summer to have specific days open as part of the operations for the bowling center?
Not yet. We always analyze that probably in March. We take a look at that. The reason for the Sunday closure was strictly for labor reduction costs because we weren't doing enough revenue to cover the labor costs that it involved to operate that day. That was the least busiest of the week. So we just felt that it was a good day to close. It just wasn't worthwhile staying open. Originally we were down 2 days, but we opened back up on Mondays. We were closed on Mondays before. But we just decided to take 1 week out of the month. We do some maintenance that we can't normally do when we're open. But the biggest reason was the reduction in staff. So if we see a lot of people requesting that day to be open again, we can try it again. I'm not against trying it again. So that was the reason why.
Anybody else? So then do we have consensus to keep CO3 as it stands? Either yes or a nodding of the head will work. Great, thank you. So we'll leave CO3 as it stands. Thank you. Push this up on my way. On to 403. This is, well, ironic for the month of October is BOO, so boo. This is being submitted for elimination. it's no longer needed. So if we have no objections, so committee, do you have any reason to see that this needs to stay in, or? No, okay. So by consensus, we'll go ahead and recommend to the governing board that BOO be eliminated. This will be moved on as well with CO3. So on to 404, I'm going to actually turn it over to Tracy, who is going to start off with the goals that we kind of have, as a committee, put together for Lizard Acres. We've worked with Barry on this list, and so this is kind of just a compilation of everybody's thoughts. Okay, so we'll move forward with that, and we'll take questions from the audience along the way.
Okay. All right. First of all, I want you to understand this is not an all-inclusive list of the ideas that our committee members came up with. Number one is purchase 2 Arachnid Galaxy 3 electronic dartboards with Wi-Fi connection. The remote play is possible with these boards, so our residents could play with others throughout the world. The cost is $7,600 or $3,800 each. So, discussion?
In addition to the boards we currently have,
Correct.
and where would you place them?
That's not for me to decide.
Right, and I think before we get into that, I think Barry has some information for us as well, Joe, as far as number of play and how much play you get.
To purchase those that's a capital issue. It would have to be on our capital request list or the utilization committee list. So right now, I personally don't see a need in any additional boards. We're only averaging, I think, 10.6 people a day. We already have 3 boards. We're not there, as a DART committee or community. We're there, just to have something for some residents to play while they're in the pub. So it's not the main theme that we're projecting for a place like that to be. So in order of buying new machines, you have to find a place for them. And we really don't have the space for them. You can say they fit flat up against the wall, that's true, but you need 8 or 9 feet from the machine out to play the darts. And that takes seating capacity. So and it's free. We're not making any money. So from a business standpoint, I can't see investing any money in something that it's going to net us 0. So, but you can forward that to above my head.
Does that answer more? Okay, great. Any other questions from the committee regarding that? And does the audience have any questions regarding the darts? Okay, we're going to move on to the next item.
All right, number 2, an idea, wine tasting from an outside distributor, and the distributor would run the events. Outside distributor from that's not our current distributor for Lizard Acres.
Committee, do you have any thoughts on this or questions?
I do, for Barry mainly. Have you considered this at all with your vendors as far as doing something like that for a different kind of quality of wine?
We have, but right now they're not doing that due to COVID. I've requested a wine tasting event So as soon as they're back doing it, yes, we'll do it, for sure.
Any questions from the audience? Can you come to the mic, please? Sorry, Shelley. Next time, maybe you want to sit on that side.
Shelley Giles, 120182. When this wine tasting ever comes about, how are you going to present it? Are you going to shut down the whole pub just for those people attending it? Or, I mean, if somebody from outside wants to come in and have a drink, but it's shut down because there's a wine tasting going on?
Well, effectively, we should shut it down for something like that. And we pick the slowest night, and we'll advertise it weeks in advance, that night between 5 and 7 or whatever hours we choose will be closed. Because for that representative, for him to be effective, he needs everybody's attention and not a lot of people talking and interrupting. So I think the best way to do it would shut it down, yes.
Okay. We do have clubs for that. We have the Zymergy Club where they could go for that. I'm just saying.
Hey, if they want to do it, sure.
Thanks, Shelley. Go ahead, Jim.
Mary, I'm not really a wine drinker, but the wine there from the people I've talked to, excuse my language, it's not very good. The little bottles that they have there. Now, talking with other people, I understand that the box wines, some of the box wines are really excellent, like the Boda box or Black box, and you can get them in different types, Pinot Grigios, Sauvignon Blancs, Cabernets, Merlots. They're relatively, from what I understand, inexpensive, and they stay. I mean, they're in bladders, so you're not wasting them. And could we do something like that maybe to appease the wine drinkers before we do a wine tasting with the COVID problem? Just a suggestion.
No, yeah, we do sell an awful lot of the little wines, Cabri wines. We actually upgraded when we opened the bar from a cheaper one to a medium the road one, so to speak. And our 1912 line that we're probably selling the white wine 2 cases a week and the red a week, whole case. So, but we can get better wines, but with better wines comes bigger prices. So we're trying to keep the price affordable for everybody. But I can easily, and we tried it, and people then start complaining when you say the glass of wine is going to be $5 or $6 for a glass of wine. They hedge at that. So I'll be more than happy to bring good wines in, or expensive wines in. If somebody will pay for it.
Just a suggestion.
Yes.
Okay, I guess this is up to me now. We're into the music. Tracy and I have been working with Barry on this, and the thought is that we're talking about getting live music in there, and don't everybody get all excited, but we're talking about maybe a one-person or a two-person, live group, if you will. Either on Wednesday or Saturday night. We want to alternate. We have other events we're looking to host as well, but we're working with Barry on that. And so I think maybe we're looking out into November timeframe, because we'll have to, we have several bands that we've been talking, or groups, I guess, that we've been talking to, and we have to work on advertising, and that's going to come up later in this topic as well. But that's also something we're going to be doing with live music. So that's quite exciting.
Okay, trivia night. Ron, would you speak to that, please?
Yes, I had an opportunity to talk to a gentleman by the name of Mike Locke. He does the Fuzzies on Saturday nights, I think it is. He is interested in doing it here, His only night he has available, obviously, is Wednesdays to begin with. He's willing to give us the first 5 nights free. But then if it turns out to be good for everybody, then from that point on, it's $155 a night. But he's done a good job over at Fuzzy's, if you've ever been over there on a Saturday when he's doing it. There's a big crowd. It seems to work out very well over there. But that's the only day he has available at this moment. But he is interested. I have no idea at this moment.
And how much is it for? How much is it per night when he comes over and?
He's first 5 are free. After that, it's $155.
Are you going to charge individuals to come in and play trivia?
I have no idea.
Okay. And then if you do that, are you going to have to shut the rest of the venue down because of that?
They don't have to at the bar, at the restaurant. I don't know why they'd have to do it here.
Okay.
I think Barry has to address those questions.
No, we won't shut the place down for that. You can easily do trivia and be open at the same time. As far as the cover charge goes, we're looking at that. I probably won't do that. Most of them don't. So we'll see. Again, he's giving us for 5 free, so it'll give us 5 weeks to determine what we need to do to make it successful. And hopefully the revenue off the sale of the liquor would suffice to pay for that, plus still pay for our labor for that night.
Great, thanks. Any more questions from the committee? Audience, any questions? Tracy?
All right, next one, karaoke. Lisa.
Oh, I guess that's me again. Boy, I don't know how I got stuck with so many of these. But again, Tracy and I talked with Byron Brothers from karaoke right here in our community. And we worked with Barry on this as well. And that's going to be another one of those flip-flop between the Wednesday and Saturday night as well. And the gentleman is excited to come in and do it. And we're looking already out to November for that as well. And he's kind of given us a price, and we're working with Barry on that. And it's kind of fluctuating, so, but that as well will look to begin sometime in November when we can work on the advertising to be able to work on getting a draw in.
Before.
Go ahead, Nancy.
That you're not cover charge of anybody in there. We have a venue already for karaoke, which happens to be the karaoke club that meets every Friday night. Have you checked into I'm sure you probably have, checked into the acoustics that go into that thing and whether they're conducive to karaoke and singing and bands and that type of thing? From you.
We don't have the best acoustics in the world, we know that. Anybody who comes in there to play has to bring their own equipment. Our equipment will not suffice. And they know ahead of time that that's a requirement, that they need to bring their own speakers and everything in to hook up.
Yeah, so that's why the cost is $200. If they didn't have to bring their own equipment in, it would be $150.
And as far as with the karaoke goes, Byron was extremely excited to be able to get in there with karaoke and have another night elsewhere.
Okay, possible music solution.
Tracy, I'm sorry, hold up. Jim has a question.
I'm not into karaoke. At the karaoke club on Friday nights, do they drink?
I'm not sure what they do because,
I-
yeah,
'cause-
I've had friends that go there, and I don't know if it's a situation where the club has a BYOB or what it is. I had never have checked into that.
Because to my way of thinking, anything that we bring in to the Lizard Acres Pub is to bring in people that are going to drink and spend money.
Absolutely.
And that's where we're going to make money in Lizard Acres or for the, for the community. So get as many people as you can to come in there, buy beer and wine.
How many beers will it take for you to sing?
Pardon?
I'll split the bill with you.
Well, you know where I come from.
Any other questions from the committee? Oh, Sue has a question. Oh, Sue, you're going to have to go to the mic.
Please tell her.
So if the karaoke club is coming to Lizard Acres to have, a place, another place to sing, why are we paying $200 every time they just come over there and sing there instead of at their location? What am I missing?
I would say it's to bring more people into the Lizard Acres Pub that aren't going to a karaoke club. There are people that will enjoy karaoke but don't want to join a club and go every Friday night. But if they're in a tavern type or a pub type, environment with a couple of beers, they'll sing.
Right.
To me, that's the reason that we would bring a
And
karaoke
the
in.
reason we're paying $200 every time Byron comes over is,
Because he has to bring his own equipment. He has to bring all his equipment.
And his time's worth something. I mean, he's coming to
okay, so
a-
you're hiring him as an independent
Correct.
contractor?
Correct.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
And Sue, I'm sorry, but we need your rec card number.
111107.
Check that number.
So what I
Despacio, por
understand
favor.
correctly, that this contractor person is we're paying him $150 for the karaoke club Friday night gigs?
I'm not sure what his thing is with the the karaoke club is their own chartered club, so I don't know. if
Right,
there's-
what I meant to say is if that's what he's charging.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any fee involved or anything, because he belongs to the charter club. Any other questions from the audience?
Okay, I've been looking into possible music solutions for playing music within, excuse me, Lizard Acres Pub. I think your frog got into me. And I went to the Irish pub, I can never say this right, Irish Wolfhound Pub, and they have a system that folks can purchase songs, and they also play the system. But what I did was I went and did my own research before this, before I went to their pub. And Katie has a 2-minute video that I would like you to watch and listen to get an idea.
And be noticed with the Angelina, a breakthrough in jukebox performance, serviceability, and value. With its distinct and streamlined look and the most sophisticated music-driven lighting experience ever in a jukebox, the Angelina is a superior music solution for any venue. Angelina takes up just 24 inches of horizontal space and is instantly recognizable from any angle, allowing it to make a big statement in a small footprint. The Angelina's proprietary algorithms and advanced lighting technology bring the music's rhythm and beat to life like never before. Featuring a unique visualizer and 4-zone wall wash lighting, the Angelina captures your attention, draws a crowd, and inspires patrons to play their favorite songs. Angelina's groundbreaking light show is fully customizable, allowing you to choose the wall wash color, visualizer pattern, lighting effects, and more, making Angelina the perfect fit for any venue. Angelina's game-changing reliability and serviceability begin with a lightweight chassis made from reinforced aluminum that makes single-person installation a reality while maintaining the ruggedness to withstand the toughest environments. The Angelina has also passed rigorous mechanical and electrical testing to ensure the highest possible quality and reliability. Inside the Angelina, virtually all wiring has been replaced by innovative modular components that connect directly to a removable motherboard. With Angelina, servicing is literally a snap. All major components can be swapped out in less than 90 seconds, minimizing downtime and improving customer satisfaction. This pioneering design greatly improves Angelina's long-term reliability by eliminating connecting wires that can be a major source of failure. An ideal choice for any venue, the Angelina revolutionizes the jukebox experience and offers unrivaled serviceability and reliability. Experience music in a new light. Ready, set, play.
Thank you, Katie. Okay, if you look up here, the image in the middle is actually the actual Irish Wolfhound Pub machine, and I hear it's like 10 years old. And you notice that they have wires, so the version that you just saw is wireless. I went back twice to talk to the manager and was unable to because I found out the manager on the second day was the owner. So I talked to the bartenders, and the first bartender, and by the way, I didn't go at night. I went at like 11:30, and the first bartender, I asked him how much it cost. Of course, they don't know how much it costs, that type of thing. I did my own research, and there was one back in 2012. Granted, that's 9 years ago, and the cost of it was $4,000. So the other questions I asked were, is it pretty easy to use? The image on the right is actually a screenshot of the app from my phone. I downloaded the app. There are several bars around. There's like 75,000 bars within the United States that use this type of system. And if you look up here, you'll see that there are several bars around that have a system that uses the Touch Tunes app, including the, the Sun City Elks, because one of my questions was whether or not it's going to be a concern for people to be able to use the app and access the music, that type of thing. So at the bars, they play music, and then patrons can purchase songs. The one in the middle is the Irish Wolfhound, and they charge $1 for 2 songs or $5 for 12 songs. And they also put a little warning sign up to please, be cognizant of the type of music you're playing and be respectful of the people around you. The app, you would be allowed to, what you would do is purchase songs, and I'm not certain, but I believe the pub, or in our case, Sun City West, would receive a certain percentage for songs played within the Lizard Acres Lounge. Okay. I have sent contact information in to have people get back to me to answer my questions. That was Friday afternoon, and they have not gotten back to me yet, but they asked for 5 business days for somebody to get back to you.
Committee comments? All right. Audience comments, questions? Okay.
I guess I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
The general manager has that $49,900 and whatever dollars. If this were to come well under, if it's went back, let's say it's $6,000, $7,000, is that something that we could possibly look to get put in? Because, right now, the Lizard Acres Pub, the bartender turns on the system on the TV, goes to a certain music station, and then that's it. Is that correct, Perry?
People can request certain music. and he has the authority to change to another music channel. We have like 9 channels, I think it is. So we have a wide variety of music. If somebody has a particular style of music they want to play, we'll play it.
The other thing too, I think Barry made a comment about, I'm sorry, Shelley. Barry made a comment earlier about how many beers do we have to get Jim to sing karaoke. One of the bartenders at the Irish Wolfhound Pub, I asked him, I said, well, is this a good moneymaker? And he kind of smiled and he said, well, after about 2 or 3 beers, people are really willing to throw their money in the machine, so.
Shelley Giles again. If you're going to purchase this type of thing, they also sell one that it's a karaoke machine too, and that might solve that other problem, that people can use it for karaoke too, so.
Great. Thanks, Shelley. We'll look into that. All right. Tracy, anything else, Tracy?
Well, yeah. Well, not on that. Oh, okay, so, thought there might be some theme specials, weekday theme specials for Lizard Acres. And again, the prices listed are only examples. Obviously, I don't have the power to make those prices. So otherwise, I might put like a bottle of beer, 10 cents.
We're going to yield that over to Barry at that point, when we get there, because of course that's Barry's department.
Okay, so the ideas here are Moonstruck Monday, all beer and wine that starts with the letter M, Michelob Ultra, Miller, Light, Merlot, Moscato. X off for X number of dollars. $2 Tuesdays, beer, wine, and nachos, $2, pitchers not included. Wednesday is Wine Down Wednesday, all wine, $2. Darn that frog. Thirsty Thursday, pitcher of beer, $10. Free Fall Friday, Fireball, $2 a bottle. Suds Saturday, all beer, X off. Sports Sunday, wear your team's gear and get one drink for half price, no pitchers.
Committee, any questions, thoughts, or on that? Yeah, well, we went through all of this with Barry. Tracy and I, after we got all the committees, information, we put everything together, and we went and sat down with Barry and compiled the list. So all of this is not being thrown at Barry like, hey, look at this. Barry saw all of this and nixed what he wanted in the beginning, and so he may have now some other thoughts that have come to mind since then, but.
Well, again, we have to be extremely careful when we discount, because we're so low to begin with. Tracy, when you picked them, you picked every one of our top sellers. So, we are going to do some things, but again, we got to be really careful of pricing, because we're just too cheap. A $3 bottle of wine, if we take it to $2, we're not going to we're going to lose money, actually, with labor costs and all that. So we have to be really careful. But will we get creative? Yeah, we'll get creative sometimes, sure. There are some good ideas, yes.
Thank you. Again, the prices were just suggested. Okay, I'm sorry, that's your job.
So, audience, any questions or any thoughts? If you guys have any thoughts that, something came to your mind that you had. Okay.
All right, number 8. We know how much Barry loves shelled peanuts, okay, and popcorn. But, I don't know about the rest of you. When I drink beer once in a while, I like to have some peanuts or some other type of nuts. So this is just a suggestion. Maybe purchase a small bag of Planters peanuts and sell them for a specific amount because they'll be in a bag.
We have those.
You do now?
They're for sale at the bar
Oh, awesome. Okay,
for $1 a bag.
sweet.
So I expect you to buy some next time.
Barry, I love that you took Tracy's idea and ran with it.
All right, Yay, we got something accomplished. We must have been thinking about it together. No, I'm kidding. Okay, number 9, purchase a nacho chip warming machine. Right now, there's no warming machine for the nacho chips. So again, here is an example of one with the price of $283.45.
We do warm up the cheese, so we're halfway there, right? Does that count?
It only counts for halfway.
Oh, come on. You know, the problem again was electricity and where we put it. That's the big issue we're having with anything additional to what we have. And it's the same with number 10. We, on an ice machine, we just have no plumbing or space to put it. We're just very, very limited. So I can take a look at the warm, if you think the chips will sell more that they're warm, I can take a look at that. That's not a big deal.
Go
I
ahead,
mean, this
Nancy.
may be, this is the root of a lot of your problems down, or our problems down in Lizard Acres Pub. And that is that the infrastructure down there within the walls and what was proposed, I don't know when, because I wasn't in on it at that time, about a wall being pushed out the back and some rearranging of things. And I know it was a capital project, and I think it got, what, the kibosh on it or something?
Yeah.
But it would be nice to know where that stands, because as all these ideas come forth, and they're all good ideas, there should be some sort of long-term planning that will address the infrastructure portion so that that can be fixed, plus, and the audio and everything else.
Yeah, you know, it is on long-term planning. And again, we're brand new, we're just getting our feet wet to see if there's a good response. You know, the investment is anywhere from $250,000 to $300,000. So it's a huge investment. So we want to make sure there's a need if we go to that extreme. Yes, you know, we opened this up with under $20,000. So, you know, we didn't have that big investment. Most of the furniture we got from the bowling center and got used stuff and things of that nature just to see where it's going to go. So far, it's very favorable. And maybe 2 years down the road, you know, they might go for an investment of $300,000. But you're right, it's definitely infrastructure.
Thanks, Barry. On that note, I do know that there is a group that Directors Heddick and Director Sloan are working on, and Director Stannenbein, who are here with us today, Heddick and Stannenbein, are working on for master plan, and that is one of the items they are looking into. They actually are trying to, I don't know if this is the right word, President Fitzsimons can correct me if I'm wrong, but they're actually trying to resurrect the original $250,000 plan for Lizard Acres that was there. They're actually looking to bring that back to life and maybe see if they can get that going. And if that doesn't work, maybe how they can, bring that, if not to fruition, better that plan maybe. But that I do know that that's in their master plan. President Fitzsimon, you want to go to the microphone and elaborate?
It will be quite another year before those concrete ideas would come forth from the master plan, because this year is getting the input. So if this committee wants to put forth a capital project now that would end up happening July 1st, that's something that your committee can decide to do as long as it's done before December 1st. Otherwise, if you're waiting for the master plan to come with that idea, it would be another whole cycle. So you're looking really at 2 years before something could happen. So, your committee can decide to do it and then get it in right now. Go for it.
Thank you, President Fitzsimons. I'll get with Barry, and then the committee and Barry.
Okay, the last item is increase the advertising and communication about Lizard Acres and you know, the bowling alley too, is put little blurbs out there on the radio station. You know, maybe the general manager could talk up during his little, I think he does one weekly, is that right? With the radio
Yeah.
station?
Yeah.
And put it in the rec center news. I know Barry has a spot in rec center news, so maybe in addition of Lizard Acres, like if you decide to do specials, that kind of thing, put that in there as well. And I believe Katie sends out a lot of stuff through like Facebook and Twitter. Maybe that could be Lizard Acres as well. And also add or send things to the independent newspaper.
Yeah, that's me to send it to Katie. That's not, it would be, you know, my fault if she doesn't get it. So I'll take the heat off her. So you missed my radio program on Monday, I assume. I was on the radio on Monday pushing the Lizard Acres Lounge and the bowling center. So it's disappointing.
What time was that?
Pardon me?
What time was that?
I was on at 10:30 for like 15, 20 minutes.
Oh, I was in a.
You didn't get up it yet?
No, I was actually in a meeting in the Stampede Room.
Anyway, we will make flyers, we will get information to Katie, we'll take care of all that to make sure. That's why, you know, it's November before we're going to do anything, because we need a couple weeks out, you know, to get the word out. So once we finalize everything, we will take care of all that and get as much information out there as I can. And then I'll request to go on the radio maybe more often and try to get the word out that way too.
Thank you, Barry. Okay, I don't know about the rest of the committee, but I've been asked a couple of questions, and so they're here. Can we hang posters, photos, special flyers on the walls, number one? Number two, can the colors of the lizards be brightened up?
Barry.
The lizards, I have no control, they control themselves. Now, that's Sue's committee or her establishment of the arts and whatever you call, what do you call it? Arts and Design Committee. So I would take that question to them. They're the ones with the paintbrushes. As you can see, they came in Saturday or Monday and did some more cactuses on that one wall, so it looks pretty good. And your other question was posters. We try not to put a lot out because then it looks really sloppy. We do hang, we have a billboard we hang them on, and we have a poster showcases, we put them in. So yes, we can put stuff like that in the showcases. We can do that. And if something's really coming, like the cancer bowling event this Saturday, we did put that on the outside doors to try to get everybody to see them when they walk in. So we can do some of that, yes.
Great, thanks, Barry. Is that it, Tracy, or?
No, just a reminder, this is not an all-inclusive list of things that folks came up
I might have to cut you off, you know.
I'm sorry?
I'm just kidding. Okay, great. Any other comments or questions from the committee? Go ahead, Joe.
Barry, what are your thoughts on your monthly report numbers breaking down the food and beverage just from Lizard Acres Pub?
Right now, the reason I do lump it together, I lump it together, but I also have a subtitle of what the liquor sales were actually in the pub. We're waiting for our POS station. So once the POS station is there, it'll break out snacks, it'll break out everything for us. So then I'll be able to report it that way. And that should be here shortly.
Wonderful, thank you.
Okay. Any questions from the audience? Director Haddock.
Uh, 106-159, and just as a comment to what the President Fitzsimons said, your request for the dartboards, for example, would need to come, and Pete can correct me if I'm wrong, needs to come in before December 1st if you want to order them. If that's what you decide you're going to do, you still need to do that separately, but that could also be part of the master plan if you wanted to put it into that. But if the master plan were comment of anything was looked at and turned down, you might still want to have that separately.
Great, thank you, Sharon. Go ahead, Tracy.
I just want to say, I think having Lizard Acres is absolutely awesome, and I just think that we need to remember that sometimes we need to slow down and not, I mean, we all hope that we get everything we want in Lizard Acres, except, you know, this is one thing that was put together with very little money, and I think it's absolutely awesome right now. So, and it's great that we have a place to go instead of having to cross Grand or Bell or whatever and socialize and have a drink.
Any more comments from the audience? Katie, any comments? No? Great, thank you. So before we adjourn, it's okay, go ahead, Joe.
This came to my attention on a Facebook page that's private by one of our association members. And it had never occurred to me until I saw it, and I was actually out of town. And so I'm going to throw what happened out there and let Barry address it if you so choose. It's my understanding that 2 Sundays ago, we had some patrons come into the Lizard Acres pub to watch their team's football game, and they happened to be not from the state of Arizona. And they wanted their local team's home game on, and the bartender said that there was a policy that the home Arizona Cardinals game is the team shown on the big screen with the volume, and if they wanted to, I think I'm getting this right, they could watch their team on one of the side TVs with no sound, and that rubbed them the wrong way, to say the least. And so, take it from there.
We'll tell you the real story. The second week of football season, they were in the lounge, and we had the Cardinal game on the big screen TV, and they started requesting that the big screen TV put Seattle on. So we actually asked the people in the room, was anybody here watching the Cardinal game? And they said no. So we did put Seattle on the big screen TV. And then they got obnoxious because they wanted sound. And we said no sound because it interferes with the other TVs with the other games. That was the end of that day. Plus, they don't buy anything. So then the next week, a group of them started ranting and raving that they wanted the Cardinal game off and their game on. And we had Cardinal fans sitting there watching the game. There was like 12 or 13 of them. So we said no. That group got out of control. They were obnoxious. They were swearing. They were yelling. And my bartender did everything he could to try to calm them down. So then they threatened us to go somewhere else. So then the individual called me, gave me a completely different story. But I happened to get 3 phone calls from people that were there, thanking me for a professional job, the way my bartender handled it, and said they were out of control. So I informed my bartender next time, have them leave, because we are not going to tolerate that in that place. From some minorities, you know, of watching one game versus another. We've been doing this for 6 years now, and every week the main game is the Cardinals, if they're on. They're on the big screen TV. We don't have sound on any of the games unless there's nobody else in the room. We've never put sound on. So that was the real story. So, does happen.
I suspected there was more to the story than what I was reading, so thank you for that. So there is no such thing as a policy.
Well, the first priority is a Cardinal game on the big screen TV. If they're not playing, or we have no Cardinal fans in the room, which isn't very often, we'll change the big screen to another game, and we'll take the majority of the people in the room whose team is on the TV. We've done that, like I said, the last 6 years.
Thank you.
Any other committee questions? Audience questions about that? Can you go to the mic, please? Thank you.
Hi, I'm Julie Redland, 403-520, and I'm here because of that exact issue. I haven't been up there every Sunday, but I've been to at least 3 of those Sunday games. And I've been there for some of those incidents and was very disturbed by what was happening with the Seattle fans. I did think that the bartender handled that perfectly. I was also there, the game that you were first referring to when they did turn the Seattle game, that was an Arizona-Minnesota game. I'm from Minnesota. I was there, but there was only like 2 of us that were really patrons watching it. The bartender put it on the bigger TV behind the bar. That was perfect. There were like 30 Seattle fans. I'm fine with them having the big TV. I'm not okay with them wanting any sound. As you mentioned, there are other people that are happily watching their teams on the 6 or 7 other TVs there. So I'm glad to hear that you wanted to handle it that way. If there is 30 people watching the game and there's not very many Arizona fans, and we can, I'm fine with having Seattle use that big screen TV, but I don't want to hear sound from one big screen TV. So I just thought just wanted to make the comment that I think that was handled like
Thank you.
correctly. Thank you.
My witness.
Great, thank you, Julie. Great. Any other questions or comments? Super. Okay. With that, before I adjourn, the last thing I want to say is, so our next committee meeting will be November 10th. And with that, we're adjourned.